Hello, I've recently made a video that got pretty popular of printing a stack of multiboard. So the stack is PLA. The PLA has a layer of PETG in between. I make it white just so I can tell it apart a little bit easier. And it's very important that the spacer is not part of the actual multiboard. So you can use CAD or whatever you want, even a slicer, to take a little bit of one of them and just make this thin layer that's maybe 3 layers thick. Once that's done, you can stack it on top of multiboards, you make it an assembly, and then you go into objects, you click a specific object, like say just this layer. You can go into move, and you can set the height, the position, all of it. You'll want to right click, and you want to right click everything when you're not in move, and center it right here. Put it all together, put it at height, and then you're good. Now, the trick is once you have everything separated into PETG, into actual multiboard, you go into your PETG. First, you go into your PETG settings, and you want to edit that. And what you want to do is change this flow ratio to 1.1 or 1.15, something high, because you actually want it to overflow and wrap around the edges of that PLA. Once you do that, make sure your temperature nozzle is correct. I set it to 250, not 245. It just resets every time I open this. Your cool plate, if it's PEI, which I use, set it to 70. That gives it a pretty good stick. Your max volumetric speed can be 9 or 12. 12 might give you a little bit more, but it works just as well. And then that's that. So that's the settings in here for the actual filament. Now what you want to do in global is you want to keep going to quality. Now one of the things I noticed with the new Bamboo update recently is they turn ironing on everything. So you want to make sure this is no ironing, not top surface, not topmost surface, to no ironing. Is that slight rigidity, roughness actually makes it stick together a bit more. That's what you're aiming for, because otherwise you end up with it delaminating, which is not good. I put scene position at random, mainly just default settings, as you can see. Then under strength, wall loop is 3. Sparse infill density, I put it at 30. Now you can do whatever pattern you want. I like the support. Cubic, but you could do honeycomb. You could do 3D honeycomb. You could do whatever you want. It really doesn't matter. But the 30 just keeps it strong, so it doesn't warp as much and delaminate because it's pulling apart. Your speeds, keep pretty general. I just go with default settings. I could probably speed this up since most of it's PLA, and then use for all the PETG, slow it down to this 50 and 105. Supports, you don't need any, so make sure that you could, I would turn that off so you don't have to worry about it putting supports in there. And then others, once again, don't have to do anything. You can put a prime tower if you have space. I don't really need it. The final thing you need to do, go to this flushing volumes and make sure when it switches to PLA or to PETG or to PLA, either of them, make sure to switch this to 700 or 750. Make sure it's good and put this multiplier on 1. That way your nozzle is clear, because if it's not clear, then you're going to have issues. It's going to get clogged. You might have delamination, but it needs to be a high value to clear out that previous material whenever it switches. And that's it. Now when you slice it, it's going to be a little bit longer. I'll slice it here, and I'll be back in a few minutes. Alright, we're back. So as you can see, it was about 8-9 minutes to slice. But we are going to go through about so almost a full kilogram of filament with these 8 multi-boards. These are 9x9, mind you, so they're pretty big. But what some of it is, let's see how this breaks down. So we got, let's go through here. We got 31% that's inner wall, outer wall is 21% at 200 kilograms. And you got sparse infill. Now let's see, you got a flush volume of 6.46 kilograms, which actually isn't all that bad when you break it down. If I remember it, I did kind of a breakdown of this, and it came out to about roughly 80 or 90 kilograms for the PETG. It wasn't too bad. About 1 total multi-board core worth. But one of the things I want to mention about this is 1 day, 16 hours, and 38 minutes. Now, I've had people ask, why don't I just do all PLA and just do a space in between? 1, it's because the finish is crap. 2, that takes you about 2.5 days when you do it that way. It means you have to iron each surface, and when you iron a surface, it adds about 1.5 hours a piece, if not longer. It takes quite a bit of time. So you get a good finish with this, but it saves you at minimum 10 hours, if not more. So this is pretty good. Now, another question is, can you do this with PETG? Stack the PETG with layers of PLA in the middle. I have not had success with this. The problem I've had with PETG is it warps a bit more, and it tends to delaminate, causing it to just mess up after the first layer, or maybe 2 max if you're lucky. But I also have a Bambulab A1. I don't have an enclosure, so you might find more success if you had an enclosure. But I just don't have one, so I can't try it. Altogether, though, this works really well. It's a good way to print without having to go in every 4.5 hours or so and change it. It just continually runs, and you get your multi-board. Now, mind you, I'm also going to tell you, I use Sunlu for most of my filament. It's a good price, it's good quality. So my PLA is Sunlu base, like a basic PLA. Just I use black, sometimes white. And then my PETG is just the basic black or white PETG. I'm going to start getting some matte colors just because they're not as shiny. But yeah, they work really well. I highly recommend going to the website, follow it, follow their setting recommendations for temperatures. But they're also, it's like $12 to $13 a kilogram, which, I mean, it's just a great price unless you're doing 10, 20 kilograms from any cubic, in which case you can get maybe a little better deal there. But yeah, that's essentially what I do. And it turns out really well, so I highly recommend you try it. Thank you.